Excuse me, boss lady.
Yeah.
What is she doing here? How am I supposed to get over her if she's always hanging around?
I am assisting her with some work while her assistant is on leave. She was in a bind.
That's not your problem.
All right, House of Payne fans. Now, this video, I want to talk about, I was going to split it up. I'm like, nah, let me just encompass everything into one video. Now, this clip you just saw was from an episode from the first or second season of The Revival. And, this was when Calvin was really on the same timing as a lot of fans. Like, okay, so Miranda, why are you always around? Now, in this particular episode, it's because she needed help. Apparently her assistant for her job was sick or something, and she needed somebody to, be her assistant for the day, so to speak. And Ella, volunteered. Now, Calvin rightfully said, well, it shouldn't be your burden. And I think there was another episode where Calvin kind of went in on Miranda about always running to his family for help when she needed something. And a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people say it in current time because everybody's on the Laura hate train. But when looking at the comment section on various platforms that post clips from the earlier episodes, or even, clips from years ago, and I'm looking at comments from people making, responses back in like 2022, they're like, man, why is Miranda always around? Like, where's her family at and whatnot? And when it comes down to it, I wanted to bring up what Calvin said to his mom about how am I supposed to get over her if she's always around? And keep in mind, this was like not long after the divorce stuff was finalized. And I can't recall if this episode is before or after Calvin was engaged, but either way, whatever. But I will say this much. I wonder if Calvin never officially got over Miranda because of the fact that A, she was a constant presence. B, his relationship with Laura, I'm not saying it wasn't real, but it could just be his method of proving to himself and Miranda that he can move on. And truth be told, I'm not saying he did this on purpose because, number one, he did not know that Laura and Miranda were co-workers, let alone friends. He had no idea. But you also have to look at it from the perspective of Laura dumped him. He was, upset about it, but then Laura came back to, make amends and try to, work it out. So I wonder if on some level, knowing they were friends is what low-key expedited the proposal. Because I think I did a short on this, if I'm not mistaken, a YouTube short. But I feel like maybe he really wanted to make Miranda, suffer. Like, okay, if you're always going to be around and whatnot, let me give you a show. And then C, or number three, I forgot. Was I using letters or numbers? I forgot. But yeah, third reason. I wonder if it's because every time, well, not every time, but almost every time he and Laura get into some sort of spat, he ends up talking to Miranda. And Miranda, it's like she told Ella in that same episode that the clip was from. You know what, Miss Ella? It's like me and you are closer and are bonding more now than when I was married to Calvin. And it seems like Miranda and Calvin are in a better place separately now than when they were married. But if you want to look at them as a team, they do things a lot better now than when they were in a marriage together, from the co-parenting and whatnot. And typically whenever there is an issue between Calvin and Miranda, it usually is in relation to Laura. Not blaming her, but it's like Miranda going off because Laura bought a gift that she didn't approve of. I'm talking about that football jersey. Or Laura wanting Calvin to ask Miranda to give back the spare key to the condo. And the list goes on and on and on. I feel like the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder thing is true. But if we're being completely honest, Miranda doesn't seem to be gone long enough for Calvin to quote unquote miss her. He might miss the simplicity of being under the same roof, going to bed together, that sort of thing. But it seems that he and Miranda are in a better place now than he and Laura have ever been in. Because Laura is always feeling like she's in competition, which really you can't blame her. But at the same time, this would definitely be a different conversation if Miranda wasn't always coming over and whatnot. And I'm not just talking about, like, you know, dropping off the kids or whatever, but I do feel like there is some truth to this, that Calvin and Miranda, their dynamic since, you know, the revival and whatnot. Well, let me just say, like, the second or third season of the revival, their dynamic, it kind of goes to show that while we point the finger, well, not everybody, but I know I do, talk about, you know, Ella and the Paynes never really giving Laura a fair shake. It just seems to me that Calvin never, and I mean never, healed and never got over Miranda. Now, keep in mind, he told CJ, I love Laura, but I still love Miranda. I don't think that love ever went away, no matter how much Calvin tried to tell himself, others, Laura, or even Miranda that he doesn't love her anymore. I don't believe that. I think deep down he wouldn't say it, but out loud, but deep down he knew that what he has with Miranda is better than when they were married, just because things are slightly different. But at the same time, as they get closer to the wedding day, you know, he and Laura, that's why he's having quote unquote second thoughts. And some people even speculated that maybe the phone thing was kind of the last straw, and that's why Calvin isn't chasing her or whatever as of right now, because he was possibly waiting for a reason for her to blow up and leave again, but this time he wasn't going to play the game. Even though in episode 17, the chicken dinner, we know he's determined to get the relationship back on track. But yeah, I think that deep down, Calvin never got over Miranda. Their dynamic is much better now, from the communication to how they work together, because that's the thing, like when Calvin and Christian was sick and Laura was trying to take care of him, it wasn't that she was doing a bad job. It's just that, for example, Christian didn't like, you know, certain soup or juice and whatnot, and then he, not Calvin, but he called Miranda to come over there. She swooped in and just handled everything. Or when Calvin was working on those swag bags for you know, Curtis's barbecue truck or whatever, Miranda swooped in and saved the day. And there have been a number of times where Calvin's like, I can always count on you. You always save me when my feet are to the fire. And Miranda just knows, like, you know, oh, you're absent-minded. Let me make sure you pay these parking tickets. Let me make sure you did this. Let me make sure you did that. And without even knowing it, they're in sync. And that's something that he and Laura have never had. So what do you think about it? Do you think that Calvin ever stopped loving Miranda? Do you think that without Laura around for now, he'll be able to kind of see things a bit clearer? So now that Laura's out of the picture, he can possibly you know, zoom in on these Miranda feelings and possibly, you know, see whether or not there's something to pursue. But of course, only time will tell. But thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. It really does help the channel if you do those things. And I will catch you all in the next video.